The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.
Okay, and welcome to the K-Files, and voila, look what we pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
The cat drove in, right?
So anyway, Linda, we're always glad
Look
to
how
have
nice
you on
you
the
look,
show.
folks. You look so
Well,
good.
thank you.
I like
Thank
that
you.
dress. It looks good on you.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
that.
you too, JP. You looking good too.
In my dress.
And I've lost a lot of weight.
I
You
about
have.
joked on that one. Talk about a dress.
And hair. I've lost hair and weight. You know what that's like.
Yeah, I do.
Well, congratulations for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always a good and a positive.
I feel better. I just turned 53 years old. I feel better now than I did 10 years ago.
Well, that's good.
I was in terrible shape 10 years ago. So, I mean, I've lost quite a bit of weight, and just from drinking water. I used to sit at the newspaper desk and drink 2 or 3 2-liters a day of Mountain Dew. And I mean, I got diabetes. It was just, I had high blood pressure, the stress of the newspaper office, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing a lot better now.
Well, I'm glad. Anytime you improve your situation, your health, that's always a good thing. Mm-hmm. Always a good thing. So JP and I, you said you had some time off, a couple of weeks or so, off. Now, off from what?
I teach at Lewisburg College now.
Okay.
You know, we started the show, in 2020, right? Is that right? So I was heavily involved for more than a year. And then I finally started teaching, which had been my plan for many years. It took me a long time to get the education that I needed to be able to do that. And I started teaching in 2021. And then it pulled me away from the show because I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning is really early.
I
It's the
know.
earliest I've got up in a long time. And you know, I started. I mean, one of the first places I taught was here on the.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know how many folks don't know we film on the campus of Wesleyan University.
That's right.
So I started here, and then I taught journalism at Barton College in Wilson and some other community colleges, and then I got hired a couple years ago. I teach full-time at Lewisburg College.
Very good.
You know, we lived in Spring Hope the whole time that we've been here in this area for about 11 years. We've lived in Spring Hope the whole time. We bought a house in December and moved about 2 blocks from the college.
I was going to say, so it takes you.
Oh yeah, I walk to work most times.
Golly.
Michelle, you know, she was the librarian there in Spring Hope. She's now a librarian at the college. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, we're
Got real good.
Yeah, didn't it?
I'm telling you, when we first got married in '95, in '95 we first got married, and we moved to. We went to college we went to Baptist Bible College in Springfield, Missouri. And it was a magical time because we lived on the campus. They had married dorms. We lived on the campus. I worked for the campus.
Yeah.
I did security and maintenance for the campus, and I was going to school there. And we spent,
Okay.
we were that picturesque image of like laying on a blanket out on the green, and just really enjoyed it. And then things went different ways, and we had a lot of kids, and I spent a lot of time poor. Journalism is a great profession, but it doesn't pay a lot of money.
Right.
You know, so I mean, but now, after we've been married 31 years. We're back to spending all day on a college campus, and you know, it's great. I'm the happiest that I've been in my entire life.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad to hear that. Well, you know, we do a thing now, and I'm going to let you talk some too, but what do you think about our hot and now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because things happen now that people, they were unsolved, you know, maybe 2 days ago.
Right.
That they're looking for somebody.
Well, you know, we were, I believe, maybe the first case that Team Cold Case helped solve wasn't a cold case at all. It was the murder of Johnny Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you couldn't get any more hot now than that.
Yeah, exactly.
And when he that had to have been 2021 or maybe
Somewhere
2020. It was, yeah, but I mean, Cunningham was an interesting guy, you know,
He
and
was.
he liked to shake it up, and he told it like it was a lot.
Yes, he did.
And
I really liked him.
I did too. He was a friend of mine. He was a source. Sometimes we argued about things. I mean, I you know, the book of Proverbs say you should sharpen people like iron sharpens iron, right? So I mean, that I always like giving you a hard time, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm used to it.
And you know, Johnny was like that, and you know, he and then he got killed over something really stupid.
Yeah, it really was. What a shame. I'm really shocked.
My favorite Johnny Cunningham story is he told me that that Councilman Knight brought him to that little church next to the event center.
Okay.
And Andre had bought that church knowing that, or Andre had his mother buy that church for $1, I think, or $10, knowing that the event center was coming there.
Right.
So probably a little bit of insider trading, right?
Yeah.
When you buy property knowing
That's
that.
what it sounds like to
Right.
me.
You buy property knowing that something big is going to
Yep.
come there with the plans
Yep.
of selling that back. And Johnny said he was standing on the steps of that church, and Andre was bragging about it. And he's like, Andre, you're going to go to jail one day. And, you know, so, but I mean, Andre's not in jail.
No, he's not in jail.
But Johnny Cunningham is dead. So.
Yes.
But I do. I you know, that showed very early on the value of what you do here.
Yeah.
You know, the Cunningham's murder was solved really quick.
Well,
with
it was
a tip.
really your idea. The show was really your idea.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching America's Most Wanted, and you know, and I mean, they saw so many cases in their time. I mean, so many cases, and I thought, you know, we could kind of do that here. I used to love when I first started reporting in the early 2000s. I mean, I'm old. I'm really old, right? So when I first started reporting, I was chasing ambulances. You know, I was doing the what was hot and sexy and now and you know and like all of the big cases and the breaking news and all that. Mm-hmm. And then I had a couple family situations where one of my brothers was a missing person for a little while, and then he turned up dead.
Yes.
And it really changed
about that.
It changed my perspective on things, and I started thinking about you know, what these forgotten cases, these people that for whatever reason their murder never got solved, or their missing persons case never got figured out. And so that kind of became the whole focus. You know, while I was working for newspapers, obviously you have to cover the beauty pageants and Easter egg hunts.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. You had to cover the Christmas parades. You know, you had to do all the Boy Scout meetings. I mean, you had to do the things that you had to do. But I spent every waking moment for many years that I could trying to shine light on cases that people had forgotten, and then that's how this came about. You were always at all the press releases. Anytime Sheriff Stone would have a press release, press conference or whatever, you were there. And then so you've been doing TV for how many decades, and you don't know how to turn your ringer off?
No, I can't believe I did.
So anyway, we met and we talked and everything like that, and the more that you can get attention on something, the better a chance to get it solved.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned is like it takes time. Like every time y'all talk about the case, because I watch the show on YouTube because I don't get WHIG out where I'm at, or don't know how to get it because I ain't, you know. But anyway, I mean, it's like when you create this show and you put it on YouTube, it's there.
Yes.
So someday, I mean, it could be 10 years from now, but
look at
someday
the one
someone's
in
going to
Florida.
Google. Right, absolutely.
Look at the one that was solved in Florida. The lady saw it on YouTube, and she called down here to Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office and said, hey, I think this guy lives down the street here
Right.
in Florida. They knew he had ran to Florida, they thought. And they brought him back.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the magic of putting information out. You know,
it is.
And I was thinking today, like what story that I could tell about what I'm trying to do now.
What are you trying to do now?
So I walked in and I heard you talking about the data center
Yes.
that they want here, and I got a really particular problem with all that, and I'll get to in a second. But I wanted to talk about, I think it was 2010. I was working in Jacksonville, North Carolina,
Right.
for the Daily News down in Jacksonville. And I had always had a good relationship, and I never even thought about this. I mean, obviously, we had a good relationship, the newspaper here, the Telegram,
Right,
and you,
right.
And I always
Yeah.
just had a good relationship with people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes newspapers and TV have a
Right.
competition, but
It's not really in your best interest to
It's
do
not.
that.
So-
it's really not.
So I had taken the day off. I was a newspaper reporter. I had taken the day off to take two of my kids to the eye doctor. And a television reporter friend of mine called and said, hey, I don't got nothing to do today. I got nothing. And, in like newspapers, I just had to write a story. Sometimes you take a picture, but I just had to write a story. In TV, when you're doing TV reporting, you got to have B-roll and you got to have
yes.
interviews. And
We have to do it the hard way.
Right. So absolutely. So she calls and she says, hey, I don't got nothing. And I said, well, there was a little old lady that called me yesterday, said her granddaughter was missing. I said, maybe she'll do that. So I met her. It was not far from where I lived. So on the way back from the eye doctor, I met Chelsea Donovan. She ended up working at WRL for a while. Years later.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so we met at the woman's house. She lived in a little cul-de-sac, and there was that house and like a neighbor's house. And we went and knocked on the door, and I thought she would be ready to talk about her missing granddaughter, right? Well, and Chelsea had her camera, and everything, and the woman was like, I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, well, you just called me yesterday at the newspaper and said your granddaughter was missing and you wanted to talk about it. Now you don't want to talk about it. I mean, it was really suspicious.
Odd.
Yeah. I mean, your cop radar be going off, right?
Yeah.
So we were walking back to the car, and Chelsea was like, I don't have a story, what am I going to do? And my daughter, Belle, who works for some national security agency that she won't tell me what it is now, and she's in Germany right now, so I don't know what that means. But anyway, she said, Daddy, look up there. And she pointed up in the sky, and there were like 20 or 30 buzzards circling around circling around the backyard, exactly. And the neighbor came out and he was like, what are you doing in my yard, right? And he saw me and he recognized me from those stupid parades I had to cover because he goes, ain't you the newspaper guy? And I said, yeah. And he was a retired Marine who was in the parade every year. And while we were talking about the buzzards, the wind changed. Yeah, and it's and right, as soon as the wind changed, I mean, like once you smell a dead body, right, it's like no other thing. I like to tell people, like my students, my journalism students, when I'm talking to them, odor is particulate, right? This really grosses people out, but a lot of people don't know. When you smell something, it's because that odor, a small piece of that, like when you smell dog.
Yeah.
I don't know what word I can say on TV. When you smell dog, yeah, there you go. When you smell dog excrement, it's because a small, tiny piece of that has gone up your nose, right? Yeah. So when you smell a dead body, and you just can't mistake it. And I've smelled it so many times in my life, and when it was like, whoa. So I called the sheriff on the phone, Sheriff Ed Brown, one of the best sheriffs. Next to Stone and Atkinson, probably the best sheriff I've ever worked. I was his neighbor for a while. It's a wild story.
Okay.
But anyway, I called him on the phone and I said, hey, that girl that's missing out of Hubert, what's going on with that? And he said, well, my detective said that she just ran off. And I said, Sheriff, I don't think she ran off. So he called while I was on the phone with him. He picked up his desk phone and called his detective. And I could hear the conversation. And he said, hey, what's up with the missing girl in Hubert? And he goes, oh, well, the canine guy, we didn't go yesterday because the canine guy had a cold. And I said, Sheriff, you need to get somebody out here now because that girl is here.
She's here, yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember him telling the detective on the phone, he said, you could have been a hero yesterday, but today you're a zero. And that stuck with me forever. So anyway, they came and her husband, who was the grandmother's grandson, so it was like the granddaughter and right. But he had killed her and stuffed her in a tree in the backyard, and there she was. And so when we reported that story, right now I'm getting to the point of all this.
Yeah.
When we reported that story, the Daily News reported that we helped find the body, because we did.
You did, yeah.
I think she was working for WITN back then.
Okay.
They reported that we helped find the body.
Okay.
But then the press release just said the body was found. You know how that goes, right?
Oh, yes.
I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. And then, like in court, it was just that the body was found, right?
Yes.
So, it's not an ego thing for me, but it's just kind of like the truth of it all. Well, today, if you go on Google and you Google that guy's name, his name was Sawyer Mole. He's in prison for life for killing his wife was Virginia Mole. You go there today and you ask Google about it. Google will tell you that the body was found, right? It won't tell you how. Because in the zero-click economy that we live in, and what I mean by that is years ago, when you Googled something, it would give you a long list of websites to go to.
Like references.
Yeah, so you would click that and you would go to a different website.
Yes.
Well, today what Google wants to do is they want all that ad revenue for themselves. So when you click, 80% of all Google searches now end on Google. Right, so if you Google like how do I bake a cake, you used to get a long list, and you would click Betty Crocker or you would click Home and Garden or whatever.
Yep.
Okay, so like WITG so let's say you do some breaking news, and you've got it on your website, you've got it on YouTube or whatever, and you've got it on social media. Right. When someone hears that. Right, when Andre Knight finally gets arrested or something, right? And they see that and they're like, "Oh, did Andre?" I'm just picking on you, Andre. I know you're watching. So it's like, "Oh, what happened?" And they Googled that. Instead of the traffic coming to you so that you can make ad revenue,
right?
Google has robbed you. They call it scraping, but Google has stolen your story and put it on Google so that the search ends there, right?
Well, that really stinks.
Oh yeah, it really does. And so what's happening is all the independent, all the smaller news agencies, all these websites, they're all going out of business now because they're not getting any ad revenue. Fortunately, you're a TV station as well, but I mean, just imagine if you're just a website.
Oh, yeah.
They're all going out of business. Newspapers are hurting, and Google tricked us all because they told us all it was called search engine optimization, SEO. That was the buzzword 15 years ago. That was the buzzword. Blah, blah, blah. Make sure that when you do, we told us at newspapers all the time, make sure when you do a story that it's got SEO in it. Put the right headline in there. Put the buzzwords. Put all the words in there. But now Google, they use artificial intelligence. They use, all these tools, and every day they're scraping websites. So every day they hit social media. Kat over at Fighting Crime is suffering from it because they'll go on there and all her good news, they'll take it all.
Right.
And then when someone Googles something, like you wake up in the morning and someone says, "Oh, did you hear about what happened to so and so?" And you Google it. Right. So the problem with that, not only are websites losing money and stuff, but the truth is getting squashed.
Yes.
Controlled. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Really
it
bad.
Sure is. And so when you look up Sawyer Mole now, Well, in the past, when you looked up Sawyer Mole, you would get that Daily News article that said that I helped find the body.
Right.
And you would get the WITN article that said I helped find the body.
But now the body was found.
The body was found. So another example here for Rocky Mount folks, if you Google Sugar Ray Leonard right now, Google will tell you that he was born in Rocky Mount. And people in Rocky Mount love to talk about Sugar Ray Leonard coming from here. He was born in Wilmington, right? I mean, I got his birth certificate.
Wow.
The man was born in Wilmington. He did live here as a child for a little while before moving on.
Okay.
But I know, like, all the time at city council meetings and stuff, people will talk about, you know, Rocky Mount, the birthplace of Sugar Ray Leonard, which it's not. But that is what I mean. So not only is Google stealing people's stories and causing businesses to go, causing people to go out of business, they're also wrong a lot. And that's I deal a lot with my students in my research and journalism classes. They'll go on Google and they'll ask it a question, and instead of getting links to other information, they got this thing called Google Overview, which is just AI. And AI is like a friend. AI is like a drunken friend at a party that knows everything but doesn't really know anything. You know, it's really confident that it knows things and it'll tell you things, but it's like wrong a lot. It's like the weatherman.
Wow.
You know, it's like wrong all the time.
God.
And so you just can't depend on it anymore. And
That's a good. I'm
yeah,
glad you put that out.
and so what's happening?
Let's go to break.
Okay, well,
Let's pay some bills.
Yeah.
Let's pay some bills, and we'll come back.
while you can.
Yes, that's right. We're going to pay some bills while we can. We'll be back with the K right after this.
The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.
Okay, and welcome back. We're talking this morning with Lindell Kay about what he's been doing.
I mean, she used to call me Lindell John Kay. What happened to that?
Well, you told me that's not necessary. That's what you said. You can just call me Lindell Kay, so that's your fault.
Well, I had to give you a hard time
That's
about it.
all your fault. Yeah, I know. See, we used to argue. I don't have anybody to argue with anymore because JP and I don't
JP's a
argue.
professional. I'm kind of a, I don't know what I am.
So,
Professional's not the word that comes to mind.
we were talking about data centers.
Okay. So I was explaining how Google is really train wreck reality, and not in a insidious way all the time, but just in a way that's just happened, right? So I teach my students this, right? And I believe in giving back to the community, right? And I'm thinking, how can I give back to the community? I want to talk about unsolved cases. That's because that's what I know, right? I mean, I'm not a ladies' man. I'm not an athlete, you know. I mean, but I know unsolved murders. So how do I give back to the community? And I started realizing that anything that I do on the internet is going to get swallowed up by the algorithm and by Google, and it's going to get twisted. So, you know, I was for the last couple of years writing for Fighting Crime.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that. I love Kat. I've known her for 11 years, I think.
Right.
You know, I remember when I first got here, the newspaper hated her because she was always making them look bad, because she would have, you know, the newspaper's supposed to be the reliable source, and she would have all the information before they did. Absolutely. And so, like, I got involved with her just like I did with anybody.
Yeah.
It's because she was good for my career. You know, we would always credit her in the newspaper. I started that. Like, you know, if we got the information from her, we need to give her credit for it. So I enjoyed my couple of years writing for her. I retired. I wrote a thing about me, you know, stepping down from that. But part of that is the idea of how do I share information with people without giving it away to Google. Right. How do I do that without giving it to Google? And what I came up with, I don't really know where the exact germ of this came from, the idea, but it hit me like a ton of bricks one day, right? And so what I'm going to start doing in the fall is I'm going to start at the Franklin County Library, but I'm going to come over here to Nash and Edgecombe. I'm going to go to Wilson. I'm going to go to Onslow County, where I used to work, all the places that I used to work, right? And I'm going to hold free seminars for the public. You know, this is not me making money. I'm set. I make plenty. I'm a disabled veteran. A proudly disabled, well, not proud that I'm disabled, but I'm a proud veteran who's disabled. I'm gainfully employed at Lewisburg. This has nothing to do with money. It's a free seminar. The public comes. I'm going to talk to them about these cases, right? And then I'm going to bring death certificates, autopsies, police reports, all the things that will show, you know, what these things are. And I'm going to teach the public how to do this on their own, right? So a lot of people think that, like, reporters have some sort of superpower when it comes to information.
Magic wand.
Yeah, but it's public information. I've never gotten anything through public information requests or FOIA requests that anybody else couldn't get. Anybody can walk in off the street and go to the courthouse and demand to see an arrest warrant.
Yes.
Anybody can walk in the courthouse and demand to see a death certificate.
Right.
You know, so I'm gonna show people. I'm gonna say, look, this is, you know, I'm gonna take cases that I worked on, and I'm gonna say, this is how you do it. And so every Thursday night at Franklin County Library, I'm gonna be doing this. It's like a local true crime podcast, but there's not gonna be the podcast part of it. It's just going to be me talking to people. It might go over well. You know, people might think I'm wasting their time or whatever. But I want to show the public, because with newspapers going out of business, with 4 or 5 websites. You know, remember when the internet was good? Remember, like when 20 years ago, you went on the internet and there was all these websites and all these things to look at. Now the internet's like 5 websites: Facebook, Google, Amazon, Twitter. You know, I mean, it's just, it's, you know, so it's also TikTok, you know, YouTube. It's all social media. It's all just people complaining about everything.
Are you just going to do this in Franklin County, or
no? I'm gonna come here. Yes, sir. I'm gonna start in Franklin, and then after I do that for a little while, I'm gonna get with the libraries elsewhere, and I'm gonna come here to Rocky Mount down to Braswell.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and when I come to Braswell, I'm going to talk about the cases from Rocky Mount.
Well, make sure they're open when you come.
Okay.
The funding's.
For the library?
Yes.
Yikes.
They're very, very upset.
Wow.
So the funding is being. We're hoping they're going to keep the library. She stood up in the meeting this week, in the budget meeting, and tried to defend herself. And after she did that, then T.J. Walker says, we don't want anybody, I don't think we should have anybody else coming in defending themselves and talking in our budget meetings, because it's putting us on the spot.
I thought that's what a budget meeting was.
I know. And we're sitting here trying to make a decision, and here's somebody in front of us making us feel uncomfortable, because we're voting a different way, or we're voting the same way.
So imagine,
what about that?
Imagine my household, where I was a newspaper reporter for 26 years. My wife's been a librarian for 10 years. I'm now a college professor. And every day I feel the pressure and the assault of, now you're talking about libraries closing, newspapers are closing, colleges are under a lot of strain. AI is taking everybody's job and doing a really bad job of it, right? You're seeing more and more news reports coming out that all these companies that laid everybody off and went to AI are now realizing that AI costs more. There's a report just came out about Uber. Uber laid off a lot of people, and they got AI to do like all the planning and
that's what we were talking about earlier, was robots.
Yeah, and
you heard us talking about that.
They can't do it though. That's the thing. So like they're realizing that, man, we're paying all this money for something that, you know, we got sold. All AI is, look, we're going to talk about unsolved murders here in a second, because maybe that's what people want to hear. But I want to say one thing, because most people don't understand this. Remember the little crystal 8 ball when we was a kid? You shake the 8 ball and it says. People think that's what AI is. They go on Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude, and they ask it a question and they think they're getting the right answer. All artificial intelligence is it's a large language model that is spell check. That's all it is. How many times you type an email and it tries to complete that email and it's not what you were meaning to say? You know what I mean? Like you're typing like, I can't come today because I got to do this, and it tries to finish your sentence. You're like, that's not what that's all AI is it finishes sentences. So it doesn't know the truth. It doesn't have an agency. It doesn't care. It doesn't have shame when it gets something wrong. All it does is finish your sentence for you. You know, so people are throwing their lives away on this stuff. Anyway, unsolved murder. So I'm going to be coming to a town near you folks to talk about in person, where you can ask me questions and I will tell you the truth.
And I think it will be I think you're on to something, I think it will be very informative. Don't you, JP?
Yes, I do.
That's what I want to do.
I think this is good.
One thing that I've always tried to do is find the truth in these unsolved cases, right?
Yes.
Because, you know, oftentimes there's reasons that a lot of these cases are unsolved. I mean, so many times in these cases, a lot of times, especially with murders. Now, missing people might be different. Unidentified bodies is different. But when a murder, usually it's not a whodunit. The cops know who did it. It's just a matter of proving it, right? You know, and proving it in court and getting the probable cause for arrest. So a lot of times they know who done it.
Yes.
But it might take years before they can get that evidence that they need. That's why shows like this are important. You know, any kind of unsolved situation, whether it's social media, YouTube, podcasts, any of that stuff is important.
Tell me this. We have a case, Letitia McNair.
Okay.
You
I might be. When was this?
She is what is it? Halifax County. No, because it was turned over because Jeff Sherrod talks about it when he comes.
Yeah, that's right. It was somewhere.
He's supposed to be here today. Where's he at? Today's his day.
He probably heard I was coming and run off.
That's what it was.
Jeff is one of my absolute favorites. I still talk to him.
I
you know,
just really enjoy Jeff.
When I left journalism and moved out of Nash County.
Yeah.
I talk to very few people anymore because a lot of people didn't like me because I asked them questions they didn't want to answer.
Right.
But Jeff is one of the few people that I stay in regular contact with. I think he was amazing.
Jeff.
I remember one day I was taking pictures. There was this was about 5 years ago. No, I was still at the Telegram, so that was a while back. It was 7 years ago or something. And me and my son are on the way somewhere, and I see like 20 cops in full body armor. They're busting down somebody's door. So, I mean, obviously I'm curious, right? So I stop. I'm taking pictures. A really young police officer comes over, and he's like, "What are you doing? You can't be here." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can. I can take pictures. I'm on a public space. I can take." And he's like, "No, you know." And then I saw Jeff walk out of the house. And I said, "Can you please ask?" I think he's a lieutenant. He's like, what is he, captain now or major? Who knows?
Probably,
colonel or something. And I said, "Can you please ask Lieutenant Sherrod to explain to you public records laws?" And I heard, Jeff was like, "Yeah." He said, "You know, he's not doing nothing wrong. He's just taking pictures." And so, you know, I really like Jeff a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
He's fantastic and a great detective too.
Oh yeah.
Knows everybody.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
he does.
And they're going to get this Travis Lynch thing figured out. What's that light mean?
Well, it means we have a call.
Oh, I want to talk. It might be
You wanna
Andre.
talk?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh gosh, what are we going to do, JP, with this? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lindell, I got somebody, well, she walked out of the room. I got somebody that wanted to say hey to you, Lindell.
Who's that?
Gwen Davis.
Oh, hey, how's she doing?
She walked out of the room. Here she is. I just called so I could get her to say hey to you.
Good morning, Lindell.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good to see you on this morning.
Yes.
Missing you on there. JP's been holding down the fort, but it's good to see you coming in.
Oh, they do a great job. I'm here as I am a special guest.
Yes, you are. He is a special guest.
Do you get royalties for the name of the show at least?
Well, no, we just call it the letter K files now. So
I knew the answer to that because I know how tight Sandra is on the budget.
No,
she learned
Sandra's
from the
not.
Now. She learned from her.
No.
I gotta.
Okay, thank you, Philip.
Listen.
Good to see you.
Listen to this. I'm gonna tell you how smart. I'm gonna tell everybody how smart you are. right? Well, I don't know, it was like a year ago, something. I called you one day, or I emailed you, and I said, hey, look, I haven't been on the show in several years. It's still got my name on it, you still got my picture on it. You know, I got nothing against the show. I love the show, but it's, you know, and so I said, maybe shouldn't have my name on it.
Right.
But you did a absolute master class in promotion, because all she did was change it from K-A-Y to K. So you still get to say the K file, but it's not. But it's not me. It's not my name. Anyway,
But we
I thought that was
about it, and you
I
were
thought that
cool
was
with
brilliant. No, I
and
thought it was
said,
brilliant.
"No
I was
way,
like
we
that.
just keep-"
Yeah, absolutely. So
So-
what were we talking about? I don't know.
So, well, no, okay.
I have no clue what we were talking
number
about.
one, the case is
When I'm
asked
teaching,
about
I'm like,
the
when
most.
my students they'll ask me
They
a
have to
question.
rein
They
you
say-
back in,
Yeah,
don't
they
they?
do.
They have to
really
rein you
do.
back in. I
Sometimes
know
my
they
students
do.
will be like, well, you know, what were we talking
What are
about
we
today?
supposed to be talking about? They rein it
I
back
want to talk about the Seven Bridges Road killer.
Okay, go ahead and talk about. Well, yeah, because I was there. Me and Herc were there filming for the guy that, but he was only put in jail for one of the murders.
Right, because he didn't kill all those girls. That's why.
You don't think so?
No, he killed a lot of them. Right, and the state
And what was his
police.
name?
Antoine Pittman.
Antoine Pittman. That's
The
right.
state police have the definitive, the SBI. They have the definitive list of the women that he killed, because it's about 13 women that went missing or
Right,
killed at that time
right.
period, and they have the definitive list of 6 of them that they know that he killed.
Did he
Now,
confess?
he only got convicted in one case.
Of the one.
And I had a real problem with Robert Evans. I think he was a terrible DA. You know, as a
think a lot
person,
of people thought that.
as a person, I didn't have a problem with him. You know, I used to. I mean, I've eaten lunch with him. I've talked to him.
Mm-hmm.
He was I was one of the few reporters that he would give interviews to, because he didn't give interviews to newspapers. You know, he didn't give interviews to news. But he was a terrible district attorney,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sorry to say that. You know, I mean, like that is it's not a secret. I've said that many times. But what happened in that case is, when they got Antoine Pittman for Tahara Nicholson, that they killed, they had DNA
That's
proof
right.
of that, right? They convicted him of that, rightfully so. But then Robert just let the public believe that he killed all these other women, right? And he did kill a lot of them. I'm not saying that. I mean, he killed a lot of them, right? But the problem with that is there are women who were murdered in 2003, 2005, that the public just kind of gave him credit for it. And so what if the shocking reality of that, the sobering thing for whoever's watching right now to think about, is that yes, Antoine Pittman killed several women, and I'm glad that he's in prison for the rest of his life. I wouldn't have mind giving him the electric chair, right? Or whatever. I don't know what we do here in North Carolina. I know what we do in
Not
North
that.
Carolina. Yeah, we put them on death row, and we wait till they die of old age.
Yeah,
That is
that's right.
that's the method
That's
of
what we do.
execution in North Carolina. But anyway, the problem with that is that yes, he killed many women, right? And so he's where he belongs. But then the public, not law enforcement, because law enforcement have continued to work these cases, especially Sheriff Atkinson up in Edgecombe County, they have continued to work these cases. But the public, because of Robert Evans, the public just kind of thinks that he killed all these people.
So we have 6 women probably out there that the killer is out there.
Yeah,
I've always
that's
thought
what I'm.
this.
Yes,
Yeah.
Always
that's what I'm.
thought
Have
this.
you
Yeah.
really?
Yes.
So
Yes.
the killer is still out there for 6 of those women. He's going to get off free because it's just
There was a guy up in Scotland Neck
terrible.
that a sex offender. His last name's Davis. I can't remember his first name. And he's innocent until proven guilty of the crimes that he has not been. The many crimes he hasn't been proven guilty of already. But you know, Jaleesa Reynolds.
Oh,
was
yeah, in Scotland Neck, yeah.
a young woman that was at the library.
yes,
And she was talking to him on the internet.
Online.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the IP addresses and information show that she talked to him right before she disappeared. They haven't been able to although he did confess to a witch doctor right? You got to love these details.
Oh my God!
I learned in the
See?
Navy.
I mean, you know all these things.
I have 2 life principles that I live by. One, I learned in the Navy is attention to detail, right? Yeah, I just love attention to detail. You know, like when in the Highway Patrol, when you're doing wrecks and all that, I mean, right? It all comes down to
Yeah.
this, right? Attention, and the other one's value-added service, wherever I'm at, I try to make it better. You know, I never say that's not my job. You know, I do whatever. But anyway, the attention to detail in this case. So Mr. Davis confided in a witch doctor, a literal witch doctor, like a voodoo witch doctor,
Wow.
that he killed Jaleesa. But for whatever reason, they can't use that. It's inadmissible. So I mean, we know he did it. While they were searching for Jaleesa Reynolds' body, they found a body of Christine Boone near his backyard. And you know who his neighbor was at the time? Antoine Pittman, right? So did Antoine Pittman kill her, or did Mr. Davis kill her? We really don't know. They were neighbors. One of them is a convicted murderer. The other one is a convicted sex offender.
So the Seven Bridges Road, y'all, murderer
Yeah.
of 6 women,
Yeah.
supposedly,
Supposedly.
was the neighbor of the Jaleesa Reynolds case guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And
But
then,
now, didn't she go to his house? Because there's something in the write-up that says, pull up Jaleesa Reynolds. It's something in that write-up that says that she was at his house.
yeah, the communications that they had, because they got the communications.
Yes.
She was talking to him on the internet, on
About
Facebook.
what
or
year
something.
was that?
That was 2007-ish or somewhere in Scotland Neck in Halifax County. Is that Halifax County?
Yeah.
So she said, "I'm coming to see you," or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they had a good DA, they could have made a case out of it. The cops up
Right.
there are so frustrated that they never would make that case. You know, tell me what you think about this, JP, as a lawman. I had a DA. I covered Dewey Hudson, was a district attorney in Onslow County and Sampson County and them, and Ernie Lee. Ernie Lee, I think. Next to, who's the guy here now? Marsigle?
Marsigle.
He came to my journalism classes at Barton College and talked to them.
Did he?
But he's a fantastic guy.
I really like
Law
Jeff.
enforcement love
Yeah.
it.
Jeff
After years, let me tell you
Marsigle.
something. After years of Robert Evans,
Yes.
anybody could have stepped into that job and looked good. But I mean, Marsigley does a great job. But another fantastic DA is Ernie Lee down in Onslow,
Okay.
Sampson, Duplin, and wherever
Okay.
counties, Jones County. So Ernie Lee had a theory that if you got a good case, a good circumstantial case, and all that stuff, you try it. If you lose, you lose.
Yeah.
But so many times DAs, they want to, because they're elected officials.
Yeah.
They want a winning record, right, JP? So so what they do is a lot of cases that they should take to court. They don't take to court because they're scared of losing, because they want a winning record. So let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the public jury, you've got a girl, I think she was 19 or something, or 17. She got a girl that's on the internet at the library in Scotland Neck. She's talking to a registered sex offender that lives down the street from the library. She says, "Hey, I'm coming to see you." He's like, "I got some horses."
Right. The
I was taking
horses.
pictures of his horses one day, and he did not like that. He came after me for that. Well, it was for the show, I think.
Really?
Yeah, years ago for the
that's
show.
right.
Okay, so she says, "Hey, I'll come see you." He's, "Yeah, I'm gonna show you my horses." She's never seen again. Given his prior record as a sex offender, given that conversation, very circumstantial, I would have went to court with that.
I would have
and,
too.
and if
Now,
the jury,
she's under missing person.
oh yeah, they never found her body.
I'm
They've
sorry,
never found her body.
JP. I forgot to.
She
I
stirred
forgot
you
to
wrong.
tell
She
you.
does that all the time.
I
She
know.
steers people wrong.
I do.
So the thing that I'm saying is that why did they not try Anton Pittman for the other cases?
Oh, my God.
Robert Evans said, "Oh, I've got him for one. I don't want to waste the people's money." But don't you think that the mothers, who some of them have died now,
Exactly.
the mothers of some of them girls?
What about
And he gets
closure?
the credit implied that he has solved them all.
There you go.
Yeah,
brother.
yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah. Now, don't
Yeah.
it say she was at the house?
Does it go?
Maybe not.
Yeah, but I mean, I know from the cases and stuff. They
go.
have the rock solid evidence that she communicated with him on the internet and said, "I'm
Yes.
coming over there." Right. So this book is great, by the way. We do need to update. I need to get involved in
We're
that
going to
and get
get
this
some
book
new
updated.
because people are really asking for them and want them.
So an example, a young girl named Denise up in Edgecombe County. She died in 2003.
Okay.
Right. Actually, a high school friend of Andre Nines.
Okay.
So this is a really good. I want people to hear this. Everybody, myself, you, everybody has some good in them, and everybody has some bad in them.
You have some good?
Yeah, I do a little bit. Hey, I raised
We
five.
have to find
I
it.
raised 5 good kids, right? So, yeah, it's hard. I had a girl tell me one time I'm like a glass of scotch because I'm really rough when the first couple of sips, but after the ice melts, I'm all right.
Yeah, I can see that.
So Andre helped me with that case because it was a high school friend of his, right?
Okay.
The problem with her was that she was considered one of Antoine Pittman's victims.
God.
Not by law enforcement. Again, I want to stress, I am not saying that law enforcement has made mistakes in this case. But what I'm saying is the public thinks that Antoine Pittman killed her. Right? So if the public thinks that he killed her, then they're not thinking about, oh, wait a minute, I saw her, with so-and-so, or, the last time I saw her, she was talking to this, or she got in this car. You know what I mean? Like, they think the case is closed. And no matter how much that Sheriff Atkins has said it's not closed, he has made several public statements that that case is open. We've said it on this show years ago. I've said it in the newspapers. But once that story gets out to people, oftentimes people believe the first thing they hear and then they dismiss everything else. There's another case. I wish I could remember her exact name. Her name was Melanie. I can't remember I'm old and it's been a long time. But she was killed in 2005. Antoine Pittman's, all his victims was around 2007 and 2009.
Right.
This girl was stabbed to death, right? All of his victims were strangled.
Wow.
So this is Edgecombe's case too, and they will tell you flat out she was not killed by Antoine Pittman. We got suspects in that case, and we're trying to solve that case. Not only that, but she was found on Mill Pond Road, which is nowhere near Seven Bridges Road, where all his victims were dumped, right? So, but yet the public still persists in believing. So, like you said, you ruined my punchline.
I'm sorry.
You ruined my punch. But the truth of what you said, and I'm glad you picked up on it, what we're talking about is we're not just talking about justice for these victims. We're not just talking about the fact that Antoine didn't face full punishment for his crimes. We're talking about there are people out there that have murdered these women, and they're still out there today.
Well, tell me real quick about another case. Edgecombe County, the girl, her father left home.
Oh yeah, they
know she did it. They know she did it.
Cat has moved heaven and earth to prove that.
They know this girl did it. That daughter did it.
She checked the money. She got the money.
Stole his card.
Yeah,
Card and all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she did.
used
She
his
did that.
card.
She did that.
And poor
innocent
man,
until
where
proven
is
guilty, because
he?
I don't want to
But
get you
they
sued.
can't- Well,
but
you've
but
always,
look,
but you've got to have a body.
Yeah.
To solve a case, you've got to have a
well,
body.
I don't know about that. They solved that one in Wilson County. Gregory Parks.
Palacio.
Yeah, absolutely. Gregory Parks
And the
killed her.
people
They had
still
enough blood.
keep calling me about the quadruple murder in Wilson.
Yeah.
The family keeps calling me.
That was a sad one. That was like Christmas Day or whatever.
Yeah, and they keep talking about, the
that
lady
was rough.
next door or something.
That was an execution. They lined those people up and shot them in the head. one by
Yeah, I
one.
mean, it was awful.
And they tortured one of them. So they're trying to find out information.
So what is your opinion? We can never get the sheriff to come over here and do anything. As a matter of fact, he wants us
Are
to
you asking my opinion of the sheriff of Wilson County?
Well,
I think
listen,
he's terrible. Can I
he
go on
wants-
Calvin Woodward?
Yeah,
He's
Woodward.
He's a terrible sheriff.
Well,
let me tell you about
oh,
let me tell you
God.
about him. So I was doing unidentified bodies.
Disclaimer.
Right? Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, he's a public figure. He's open,
is.
right? He's
That's
wide
true.
open to.
That's right.
Okay, so. I really got invested in unidentified bodies.
Yes.
And the reason why is unsolved murders the police are working on those.
Yes.
Right? Missing people, the families are working on those.
That's right.
But when you find a body in the woods and it doesn't get solved right away, there's nobody speaking for that body. No one's working on that. So that's
Right.
why I did that whole
And that was
I
really good.
won first place for investigative reporting that year for
that was
all
really
the
good.
unidentified bodies, and we used to do it on the show. and
Yeah,
all
we
that.
used to do it.
So tell me what. This is my opinion of Calvin Wilbur, right? So I go to him, and one thing I do is before I ask people questions, I do all my homework. I get the death certificate, I get the autopsy, I get police reports, I talk to witnesses. Then I go to the lawyers or the cops and ask them questions about it. So I go to him and I'm like, Sheriff, this body right here, first he didn't know about it, which, I mean, I understand that. This was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever. It was in Lucama. And the sheriff's office has taken over Lucama,
That's
but
right.
years ago they used to have their own police department. So the files were lost. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody for that. But I said, Sheriff, why is it this guy an unsolved murder? Why aren't y'all looking at this as a murder? And he's like, well, you know, there's really no proof that he was murdered. And I was like, well, he was shot. He goes, oh, well, it could have been suicide. I was like, he was shot with a shotgun in the back of the head. And he goes, oh, well, that could still be a suicide. And I was like, he was buried underneath a barn. So, JP, explain the physics to me, because I'm a layman sometimes in some of these.
I'm comfortable saying 100% my opinion based on what you just it's not a suicide.
Yeah, how do you?
Even
I remember
insinuate
that case. We
How do you
talked about
shoot yourself
that
in the
case.
back of the head and then get buried under a barn?
Is it your opinion? He is, our time's about up, but you got to come back. But anyway, so is it your opinion? He's going to be gone,
Yeah.
He's going to be gone. Do you think we'll have better luck
Bobby Knight.
with Bobby Knight? Because everybody is telling me how great Bobby
you'd
Knight
have
is.
to.
I don't know.
You'd have to. I mean, it's the Robert Evans thing. Like when you have a president that is I said a president. When you have an official that is so bad. Right, I could have been talking about Trump or Biden right there, so we don't know who I was talking about. When you have an official that is so bad, anybody can make him look good. So I don't know much about Bobby Knight. I really don't. I don't know anything about him. I don't even know him. I'm not going to pretend that I know anything.
He can't be much worse.
He can't be worse than what Calvin was. And
We have so many cases in that book, this Wilson.
yeah,
And
get
we
no
need
participation.
them
None.
to come and talk to us about these cases, and we need to really, but
Wilson
but
they got.
don't.
One thing I did with my journalism students at Barton, one of the best things I ever did, I did a special topics class on investigative journalism, right? So I did what I'm going to do at the library, I did with them. And they all picked a different unsolved case in Wilson. And we checked out a van from the college. There was like 8 students. We went down to the courthouse, we got the death certificate. I had them order the autopsy from the medical examiner's office in Raleigh. We went to the crime scenes and talked to witnesses. Even though it had been 20 years, it's still worth talking to people at the crime scene, right? I mean, I had these 19-year-old second-year journalism
Wow.
students knocking on doors and asking people, hey, do you remember when so-and-so got killed, right? So
But that's how you get results.
that's how you get
Yeah,
results. It
it is.
absolutely
Exactly.
is. And I fear that, and I'm nothing special. I'm not trying to say I am. But what I was someone who knocked on doors.
yes,
And I fear with the shrinking newsroom and newspapers going out of business,
yes.
reporters now are just relying on press releases.
Yeah.
They're not.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
Somebody else doing the legwork.
Yeah, and a lot of times print newspapers are just what you read on the internet 2 days ago. You just what the press release that the sheriff put out. For me, a press release was always the beginning. When I got a press release that said something happened, cops could expect a phone call from me. I mean, they knew. Keystone knew that when I got a press release, I was going to be calling him. But today, because journalism has shrunk, all these things, a press release is like the end of the story.
Yep.
And that begins
That's
the flattening of information. I was talking about it in the first segment about how the official story swallows up the truth a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
Not that anybody's lying. I'm not accusing anybody of lying, but
Yeah.
but we use passive voice. In my writing classes, I talk all the time about the danger of passive voice, and that is he was killed. Instead of saying so-and-so killed him. You know, he was killed or the body was found, instead of saying who found the body. These passive voices often take responsibility away from what happens, right?
Exactly.
And it does
matter.
Detail, attention to detail is the thing. I drive my kids crazy. I drive Michelle crazy when we're driving down the road, and I'm quizzing them on, you know, what was the color of that car, you know, or what kind of hat did that guy have on. I mean, it is well, I mean, it kind of paid off because I got out of my 5 kids. I want to brag on my kids for 1 second.
Yeah.
I've got my oldest daughter is an artist that lives in Seattle, right? My second daughter was in the Navy. She now works in intelligence. She's all over the world. She can't tell me where she's at all the time doing things. She's the one who saw the birds in the sky and kicked off that whole case. So, you know, I've got 2 sons that are proudly serving in the Air Force right now. One's in Germany, one's stationed up north in Delaware. My youngest son is a sophomore in college at Lewisburg College. So I teach there. My wife works there. My son goes there. We live right down the street from there. Right? So if you got kids, send them to Lewisburg College. They can still come back to Wesleyan. They can still transfer back to Wesleyan, you know. So anyway, attention to detail, right? When a lot of these cases are solved, because I helped solve a 40-year-old murder that had been long forgotten, right? And I put information in the newspaper. This was years ago. I put information in the newspaper. The babysitter come forward that was babysitting the 1-year-old daughter back then, and she had been intimidated by the killer to give him an alibi. But with no coverage of it, her conscience, she was okay with it, you know. But then 37 years later, she opens a newspaper, and there it is, right? And so she had to come forward. She was compelled to come forward. That guy was the police chief of Cape Carteret.
Wow.
And he killed somebody 37 years ago.
We gotta go.
No,
I know, it's just getting good.
I just got
really
started.
Is. Well, what do you say? We'll have to bring the K back. We'll have to do that. How about
I like the K. I like that.
All right, we'll do that, okay?
All right.
Because
Sorry I talked so much today.
No, I've got some cases that JP and I want to talk
If you tell me ahead of time,
about.
I'll dig up my file.
No, we're gonna test your.
Oh, okay.
No. Honestly, we will let you know. JP and
I'll tell you this. Sometimes I forget like whole names, like you know, like first name, last name type thing. Sometimes I will forget that, and maybe every once in a while I'll forget a date.
Yes.
But I am not going to forget the details.
Right.
I mean, if I had the publisher, Elliot Potter, me and him didn't always get along, but he was the publisher of the Daily News in Jacksonville when he hired me. He said, "Hey, you're not my first choice," but that first choice said no. But he told me one day, he said, "If you're going to report that someone got killed with a lead pipe, you make sure you know how long that lead pipe is." Right? So that has, for my entire 26-year career in journalism, has informed everything that I've ever done. Right? If someone gets stabbed with a knife, I want to know how long the knife was. Right? These things matter, because in 20 years from now, you know, they could matter. We got to go.
We got to go. We've got another program coming on, so thank you, Lindell.
I appreciate being here.
He'll be back.
It's
no
weird.
worries.
I see myself on the TV.
Talk.
So
Yes, he's waving at himself. He's waving at y'all too.
I wave bye.
Make it a great day, everybody. Thank you, JP.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had a wild show today, JP.
The K-Files is brought to you by John Barnes Electric, your full-service electrical company, serving Rocky Mount and surrounding areas. Locally owned, locally recommended. Available 24/7. Call today for a free estimate. 442-7002. 442-7002.